A theme. Our theme this year is Building an Ethical Future. And in February, we are exploring the future of the arts. To speak to that theme, it is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Marissa Silverman, a Fulbright scholar, widely published author, and chair of music education at New Jersey's Montclair State University. Dr. Silverman.
Thank you very much. Hello, Ethical Society of St. Louis. It's an honor to be with you today, even through this medium. When I was first asked to join you, I was thrilled. I've always wanted to travel to St. Louis, to experience your Gateway Arch, see the home of Josephine Baker, and to feel the focal point of United States kindergarten education, not to mention St. Louis blues, barbecue, and beer. All are enough reasons for me to want to experience where you are. Sadly, that actual trip will have to happen some other time. So because of this talk, I've imagined you pre- and post-lockdown, listening to the blues stylings of St. Louis born and raised Jeremiah Johnson, attending a live concert at Powell Hall, attending concerts in your local school concert auditoriums, experiencing live music making in nursing homes and hospitals. Because of these imaginings, I'm grateful to share with you my thoughts about the values of music. These thoughts have become increasingly clear. COVID-19 and all the loss it has caused, the climate crisis and the devastation therein, racial discrimination, hatred, and the violence that ensued because of it, and more. It is because of these circumstances, because of global traumas, that I revisit why music is important, perhaps now more than ever, in schools, in concert halls, and through community-based programs. Crises have a way of motivating our minds to place values upon certain things over others. When faced with troubles, human beings are incited to determine what is important and what isn't. Well, how do I know? During pandemic-based online classes last fall, one of my graduate students announced, "I'm so grateful to have a job, but I hate teaching music online. I miss seeing my kids' faces. I miss being with them. I miss making actual music in an actual room with one another." Another said, no online virtual choir can take the place of feeling through live music making together. And another said, in tears, "I'm trying so hard to be positive, but I found myself crying after teaching chorus online today. Music is a human art. Not connecting with students through music makes me feel like a part of me is missing." Beyond hearing from teachers in New Jersey, I visited a kindergarten music class online this time last year. I won't go into the entire class's musical happenings, but at the very end of the class, one student refused to leave the class's online room. The teacher said, "But class is over. It's time for you to go to your next class." And the student said, "Yeah, but I've created a song." How could the teacher not have allowed her to perform her song? So on the spot, and it was quite clear she just didn't want to leave and did what she could to keep their time together going, this student proceeded to make up a song and sing, "Mr. Wallington, I love you and I love music class and I want to sing and sing and sing all day long." So why were music teachers crying? And why was this kindergarten student doing everything in her power to stay in music class? The real questions I'm actually asking right now are, why does music matter related to one's education, or stated differently, why does music matter for one's life? I ask myself these questions daily. Yes, you heard that correctly, daily. Call me obsessive if need be, and that's likely fair. But unless I consistently ask and answer these questions, I find I'm at a disadvantage. Worse, I find myself at sea. Maybe now you feel at sea, and if you do, asking yourself questions connected to why something matters might help you anchor yourself more securely. Try it and see if it helps. So because of this, I want to share my answers to those serious questions. Know that what follows will be altered again and again, but this is how it should be. Answers to why music and why does music matter sow the seeds of an ethical philosophy. And one's ethics should not be static, once and for all conclusions that hang on the wall to be dusted and admired. An ethical frame for one's being needs to be reformulated often. Still, even though my thinking will change, it's valuable to share my thoughts, as doing so will promote further thinking. If after hearing what follows, you find yourself thinking about your own answers to these questions, then I consider my thinking useful. And if after hearing these thoughts, you find yourself challenging my thinking, then that too is useful. So why music? I start by acknowledging that I teach music because I must. I know no other way of creating a meaningful professional and personal life, because teaching music is much more than the orderly transmission of knowledge and skills. Music making and sharing can be a creative, empathic, and transformative process. We likely don't need to be reminded that we're living in trying times. As mentioned earlier, around the globe, people have been and are isolated, panicked, quarantined, unwell, and uncertain about what tomorrow may or may not bring. Despite this, and regardless of social distancing and social disharmony, there are wonderful stories that showcase the unification of spirit and soul. Many such stories include music making and sharing from professionals and amateurs alike. At the height of the pandemic and via Twitter, Yo-Yo Ma, the cellist, recorded himself performing the saraband from Bach's Cello Suite No. 3 and stated, "This performance is for the healthcare workers on the front lines. Your ability to balance human connection and scientific truth in service of us all gives me hope." In Italy, when their whole country was on lockdown, people nationwide came to their windows to sing. Sing for those at ear's length, sing for themselves, and sing for all of us around the world to share and communicate that hope and joy are ever present in the hearts and minds of those confined at home. In order to provide comfort and solace in their community, two young elementary school-aged Ohio cellists serenaded their elderly self-quarantined neighbor on her front porch, just because they thought it would brighten her day, and it did. I could provide many more examples that showcase people coming together via social media through music making and sharing. And what does this say about the values of music? Let's not ever forget music's potential power to unite, communicate, and transform for good. Even when we are seemingly on our own, we can be united and can be even closer. In fact, while at home practicing social distancing, pop artist and megastar Pink treated her listeners with her rendition of Bob Dylan's Make You Feel My Love. As she stated via Instagram, "Free concert/piano lessons from my heart to yours to make you feel my love rehearsals." And what I'm trying to suggest is this. In the moment of making music, we remember we are responsible for one another, even at a distance. Importantly, just as there are hundreds upon hundreds of musics around the world, there are as many whys of musics. And so it stands to reason that there are hundreds upon hundreds of values of music making and sharing. I won't pretend to know each and every value, nor will I pretend to have experienced them all. Still, part of the joy of teaching music is experiencing known and unknown values. Even better, to experience values never deemed possible. Here are 3 values. They aren't the most comprehensive, still, they're part of why I engage in music making and sharing. Number 1, self-other understanding. Experiencing and expressing oneself through music and accepting and receiving an other through music. This understanding depends and is contingent upon many factors. When I experience and express myself through music, when I compose a pop song, perform in an ensemble, or dance through, say, West African drumming, singing, and dancing, I gain a self-other knowledge and self-knowledge, self-other growth and self-growth, and self-esteem I couldn't gain otherwise. Why? Well, when musical challenges meet or slightly enhance my abilities, I experience flow, or known as optimal experience. Flow describes a kind of experience that's so engaging that it's worth doing for the doing itself. The arts and sports are typical sources of flow. What sets music apart from all other sources of flow and self-other understandings are the unique materials and requirements of music, namely sonic musical events created and shared by and for others at specific times and places. Number 2, community. A key value of music, music sharing, and music education is community. Music connects us to those we engage with musically. There are numerous reasons for this. First, music making can be emotionally engaging and arousing. When I'm emotionally engaged, I'm likely to connect with those who are a part of this emotional engagement. Also, I become in sync with others. Being in sync connects me to others I wouldn't otherwise be connected with. Relationships form because of musical experiences, and a community is born. With that can come trust, care, commitment, fellowship, well-being, and so on. The value of community yields exponential dividends. However, this isn't the only kind of community that music education yields. By engaging with musics written by and for others, for example, Mahler's First Symphony, the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Snow, Sia Hamba, or Ellington's Black, Brown, and Beige, I can connect to people, places, and times far removed from my own here and now. And that kind of time-space travel and communality is greatly rewarding. Number 3, happiness. A key value of musical engagement is happiness, or stated differently, Aristotle's notion of human flourishing. While some may think that happiness is a soft value like fun, it's not. Happiness is the pursuit of a life well lived, and living well isn't simplistic or easily achieved. So when engaged in music making and sharing, we contribute to our life's happiness. What more can be said about music and happiness? Perhaps it's something only to be felt and experienced. So listen, make, and engage within and through music. The above values are consonant with some of the same reasons our early ancestors made music. Tens of thousands of years ago, in American, African, and Polynesian cultures, researchers document that rattles, drums, and other percussive instruments were part of the fabric of our everyday ancestors' lives. And even before any instruments were made and played, it's reasonable to argue, as numerous scholars do, that some kind of music like vocalizing or singing existed 150,000 to 250,000 years ago. So why did our early ancestors make music? For good reasons. Music making provided our ancestors with the means to negotiate change together as communities and maintain essential group bonds. So music acted then as it acts today, an affiliative and non-conflictual means of interaction, a means to support the integrity of individual social groups, a communicative medium that can help minimize within-group conflict, and a way to collaboratively establish social equilibrium. Well, why else might music matter? It's been suggested by scholars and practitioners far and wide that studying music makes kids smarter or boosts the brain or helps them do better on tests. But value-added claims like music makes us smarter and music improves test scores are problematic for a lot of reasons. Instead, what I want to emphasize is happiness matters. More carefully put, how you feel impacts how you do. I'd like to repeat that for emphasis. How you feel impacts how you do. So it's not that music makes us smarter. Musical experiences of many different kinds can impact people positively in many different ways. When you and those you know are positively tuned through active music making and listening, you and they tend to do more things better. So permit me to talk about education specifically for a moment. What seems to propel students' improved performance in schools, including the ever-dulling experience of test taking, is being in a positive state, which can result from many forms of stimulation during the time it takes to complete cognitive tests. As the Harvard researcher Ellen Winter says, it turns out that if test takers prefer to listen to a Stephen King story and you let them listen to a Stephen King story, they also do better and rate themselves better and do better on tests. This is in line with what many psychologists have shown. Being in a state of positive arousal or flow experience improves performance on cognitive tests. So if students are engaged in something they feel positively towards, they are more likely to want to participate in it, whatever it is, both inside and outside of school. So it makes perfect sense when Brian Kisida, an assistant professor at the University of Missouri's Truman School, says, for many kids, finding something they like in school makes them want more of it. And as students get more exposure to the arts, they felt better about school. Music matters a whole lot. And music making and sharing matter because people matter. And people deserve the chance to live a life well lived. To close, I have two takeaway messages. First, allow yourself to experience joy of many kinds. Importantly, the arts aren't taught in schools, so students will do better on tests. We teach the arts in schools so students will experience personal, artistic, social, empathetic, and ethical growth and fulfillment, health and well-being for oneself and others, social capital, self-efficacy and self-esteem, happiness for oneself and others, and a means of engaging positively with the community and the world. My second takeaway message is this: music education matters. I cannot say it more plainly. Our profession matters when things in the world seem to be going smoothly. However, our profession matters even more when things in the world seem to be difficult and challenging. And when we engage in the teaching and learning of music, we provide avenues and pathways that can help us understand ourselves and each other. Great music making and listening provide important reminders for why we need to show up for each other each and every day. Let's harness this world's uncertainty and remember what's important: being present for each other. And music making, listening, and sharing can help us get there. We just need to be open to its numerous benefits. Thank you.
I too wish she could have been here with us.